Friends, welcome to our today's session. And in a previous session, we are discussing some of the theories of international trade. So many theories are there. Let us continue our discussion. Some basic theories we have already discussed. Let me share the screen with you so we can have an idea of what are the theories we have already discussed. So if you look at your screen, you can understand that we have already discussed the theory of mercantilism, theory of neo-mercantilism, and the theory of absolute cost advantage, as well as the theory of comparative cost advantage. Okay, so these are the four theories we have discussed. Today, we are supposed to start our discussion on this comparative cost advantage with money. Okay, then we'll move to the relative factor endowment theory or product life cycle theories. And after that, also some more theories are there. We'll be also learning those theories. Now, mercantilism, we have thoroughly discussed this theory. Neo-mercantilism also discussed. Then coming to absolute cost advantage theory. This is the theory which is, developed by Adam Smith. Okay, and as per that theory, each country should produce those goods and services which is absolutely cost advantageous to it, and it should import other goods and services. That was the essence of this theory, and we know this theory, its implications, criticisms, all these things we have discussed. And the next theory we had discussed is the comparative cost advantage theory. This theory, in fact, tries to address the weaknesses of the previous theory, absolute cost advantage theory. And here, what this theory is, this theory which is developed by David Ricardo. Ricardo was suggested that even if a country may not be having absolute cost advantages with respect to some product, it can still search what is the product in respect of which this country is relatively most cost advantages. Comparatively, one can see. So in this example, we have seen that one country, Japan, was producing pens, or India was also producing CDs. Okay, Japan and India we compared, and we have seen that Japan was 1.2 times superior in production of pens and 3 times superior in production of CDs. If that is the kind of situation, so relatively or comparatively, Japan is more superior as regards to production of CDs. So that country should focus on production of CDs and import pens from India. So that was this theory that we have already understood. Yes or no? Is it clear up to this? This next theory is based on this theory. Okay, in this theory, one of the disadvantages is that, or if you look at its criticism, that value of the money was not considered. And there is only one factor of production which is considered, that is labor. Therefore, when we are comparing, we are considering per day output of labor, because labor was the only factor of production. So per day output of paints in Japan is 60, in India was 50, and in CDs per day output was 6 in Japan and 2 in India. This is the example we have taken to explain that theory. Okay, but here there is only one factor of production, that is labor. Okay, now since that theory has failed to consider money value of cost of production, the next theory, which is called as the comparative cost advantages theory with money, okay, which is developed by F.W. Toshib. So here, what he has tried to incorporate money into that theory. Okay, so once you've understood the comparative cost advantage theory, now we'll be able to add money value to it. In the sense, we'll try to convert those figures into money terms, then we'll make a comparison. Okay. Now, please understand here what happens. The comparative differences in labor cost is translated into absolute differences in prices. Okay. In the previous theory, we are only comparing per day output in the per day out. That means per day production. What is the production per day of labor? Now that has to be converted into price. So we'll be able to find out what is the cost of production in money terms in Japan, as well as what is the cost of production in money terms in India. Okay. And this will be converted, or this differences will be converted into price without affecting the real exchange relationship between the products. Okay, we'll see how that is happening. But to understand this concept, let us take an example. Here, first example, we are assuming that wage rate in Japan is 360 yen per day. If a Japanese worker works, he will be earning 360 yen. Okay, can you remember this? All right, so write it here. Wage rate is Japan, we are taking 360 yen. Okay. Not visible to you? Okay, I'll show you. I'll show you. Just wait a minute. Let me write down the complete assumption. Then I'll be showing you the whiteboard. Then daily wage rate in India. In India, we are saying 100 rupees. In India, 100 rupees. In Japan, 360. Yeah. And what is the exchange rate? Here we are assuming that rupee 1 is equal to 2 yen. This is not the real exchange rate. Real exchange rate is totally different, something. Okay, but this is the assumption, first of all, we are making. Are you able to see it now? So wage rate in Japan, how much? How much? What is the wage rate? If a Japanese laborer works for a day, he will be getting how much? 360 yen. Okay. And in India, if a worker works for the full day, he will be getting 100 rupees. Okay. And we are now taking an example where the exchange rate is 1 rupee is equal to 2 yen. That's the example. Okay. With this background, if we note down this, with this background, let us try to convert the production differences into money terms. Now, if that is so, now, next concept you see, or next example, you can look at this table. You see, first try to understand the first table. So we are taking here output per day of labor. So per day of labor, what is the paints that can be produced in Japan? How many paints can be produced in Japan per 1 day of labor? 60. And how many paints can we produce in India for 1 day of labor?
50.
50. Now come to CDs. Tell me how many CDs can be produced for 1 day of labor in Japan?
6.
And how many CDs can be produced for 1 day of labor in India?
2, sir.
2. Okay, so this is the volume that can be produced per day of labor. Now, as you know, our assumption was that in Japan, wage rate was 360 yen, and India's wage rate was 100 rupees, and 1 rupee is equal to 2 yen. That is the assumption. Now, come to the next table. Next table is important for us. Minutely observe it. Okay. Now we are completing. First, you see, first look at this part. This part means what is the cost in Japan we are looking at. Okay, cost in Japan. Under this, these 2 more columns are there. First, we'll find out what will be the cost in Japan. We know Japan's how much quantity of goods Japan can produce. Now we are converting into money terms. Cost in Japan means in Japan is using currency yen. So cost in Japan will be in yen. So how much yen will be right. Okay, friends. And you just now told me, you have already said that per 1 day, Japan can produce 60 pens. Yes or no? And tell me, for producing 60 pens, how much yen Japan has to spend? Are you getting my question? What will be the cost of production of these 60 pens?
600 yen.
No, total cost of production per day of labor, Japan is producing 60 pens. And what is the wage rate in Japan?
360.
360. So by paying 360 yen, you'll be producing 60 pens. Is it not? For 1 day of
Yes,
labor, you'll be paying 360 yen and you'll be producing 60 pens. Okay. Then what is the cost per pen? 368 is for 60 pens. What is the cost per pen? 360 divided by 60. Is it not? So how much is the cost in Japan in pen?
6 rupees.
6 rupees. Okay. Japan cost of production is 6 rupees. Now come to CDs. CDs, how many CDs can be produced?
6.
For how much yen?
360. That is each.
For 360 yen, that is for 1 day, you are producing 6 CDs. So what is the cost of per CD?
60.
60. Okay. So 360 divided by 6, you are calculating 60. So this is the cost of pens and CDs if Japan produces itself in its country. Because if he produces here, he has to pay 360 yen in both the cases. And per pen cost will be 6 rupees. Per pen cost of CDs will be 60 rupees. Okay. Now let us assume that Japan is not producing. If Japan doesn't produce, then India, it will be importing from India. Yes or no? And you tell me, in India, what is the, how many pens in a day can be produced? How many pens can be produced in a day in India?
50.
50 pens. For 50 pens in India, you have to spend in rupees. How much rupees you have to spend?
100.
100 rupees. So 100 rupees for 50 pens. So what is the cost per pen?
2 rupees.
2 rupees. 2 rupees pens in Japanese yen, what will be its value? Because 1 rupee is equal to 2 yen. So 2 rupees is equal to
4 yen.
4 yen. Got it? Now come to CDs. In India, per day, India can produce 2 CDs. For 2 CDs, how much will be the cost? What will be the cost? In India?
100 rupees.
So 100 rupees for two CDs. Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
per CD, what is the cost?
50 rupees.
50 rupees. 50 rupees. But in Japanese yen, how much?
100.
100 yen. So this part of table, did you understand? So if pens and CDs are made in Japan, the cost will be 6 or 60 respectively. But if pens and CDs are not made in Japan or imported, the cost will be 4 yen and 100 yen respectively. Okay, this part is over. Okay, understood?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, this is the cost in Japan. Now we'll see what will be the cost in India. And in 2 situations, if products are made in Japan or products are made in India. Okay, first we'll see if products are made in Japan. We have already seen if the products are made in Japan, per pen cost will be 6 yen. Is it done? 6 yen means how much of Indian rupees?
3 rupees.
3 rupees. Okay. And similarly, if CDs are produced, per CD cost will be 60 yen. 60 yen means in Indian rupees, Indian rupee terms, how much will be the value?
30 rupees.
30 rupees. Now, okay, this column we have understood. Now come to the other situation that India is making itself. If India is producing, then you already know that if pens are produced, 50 pens can be produced for rupees 100. That means per pen cost will be 2 rupees. And 2 CDs can be produced for rupees 100. That means per CD cost will be 50 rupees. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we have arrived at the figures. We have converted the productions into money terms. Now, if you see, if you watch it here, that if with international business, if you can find it out, Indian pens are becoming cheaper in Japan. Compare the price of pens, Japan made Indian, which is cheaper? Japan made pens are 6, India made pens are 4. Which is cheaper?
Indian also.
India. And also compare in India, India side. Okay, compare the series, which is cheaper? Japan made, India made.
Japan made.
Japan made. So that it shows that with international trade, if this thing happens, trade and commerce happens between these two countries, that Japan will be gainer if it imports pen from India, and India will be gainer if it imports series from Japan. Okay, understood?
Yes, sir.
That is what this theory explains. And this theory suggests that in absence of international business, one pen in Japan costs 6 yen and one CD 60 yen. One pen in India costs rupees 2 and one CD rupees 50. If both the countries trade with each other, India made pen is cheaper in Japan and Japan made CD is cheaper in India. Okay, and which you have already seen. Yes or no? Okay, friends. Now, having understood the basics of this theory, now let us move to the criticisms of this theory. As you have seen, this theory deals with two products. Okay, what will happen with multiple products? The theory has not yet addressed. Only two countries are involved in this theory. Transportation cost is also ignored. We have only compared the cost of production, but what is the landing cost? That may be substantially higher, considering the transportation cost. That has been ignored in this theory. Theory also assumes that there is full employment in both the countries. Therefore, a country will not produce unnecessarily, even if it is not cost effective. Okay, so it has been assumed that there is full employment in the country. Okay, in absence of full employment, suppose people are not fully employed, then country might like to produce goods and services, even if it is not cost effective, because by doing so, it will be able to keep its people engaged in production. But here our assumption is that there is full employment. Next assumption or next ground on which the theory is criticized is that goal to help poor nations may not be achieved. Okay, sometimes country produces more goods and services just to help a poor nation, even if it is not cost effective. Next is that ratio. Now you see, in this particular theory, we have seen that India will also be gainer, Japan will also be gainer if international trade happens between these two countries. But the gain may not be same. The amount of gain that India will have may not be same with the amount of gain that Japan will have, because country sizes are different. Some product quantities also will be different. So, okay, both the countries are gaining, but how the total gain will be shared among them? That theory has no answer to that. Theory has not answered that. Then one more possibility, that's the possibility of mobility. Okay, what will happen if Japanese laborers will be brought to India and they'll be used in production of series, or Indian laborers can be taken to Japan and they may be engaged in production of paint. What will be the result? That has not been considered in this theory. Okay, and lastly, one more criticism, that this theory has not addressed trading of services. It has only addressed the trading of goods. Okay, but what will happen in the service sector, that has not been addressed in this theory. So these are the criticism of this theory. Is it clear to you? Understood? Comparative cost advantage theory with money. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we are going to learn one more theory. Okay, that is product life cycle theory. As you know, when the just like business has a life cycle, products also have life cycle. In your lifetime, you must have seen some products come into existence, then also after some times they disappear. There are many products which are there in different part of their life cycle. Okay, so depending upon that and their position in their product's life cycle also linked with international business. How it is linked, we'll be seeing it right now. And just now I'm showing you the PPT. This is called as product life cycle. Product may have these stages in its life cycle: introduction stage, growth stage, maturity stage, and finally decline stage. Product may come to the market. It may be introduced in the market, then it may attain growth, it may attain the maturity stage, then finally it will decline and it may go out of the market. Out of the market here in this context, it may go out of a country, but it may enter into some other country. It may enter into a less developed country. For example, suppose two-stroke scooters may not be marketable in India. It has already, market is declined, but it can be exported to some other country where two-stroke engine scooters are still running. Okay, so like this. Okay, so this is how one product can move from one country to another country. If you look at this slide, you can have some idea that how different products are there in their different life cycle. For example, coming to introduction stage, you can find out many things which have just entered. For example, it is electric vehicles. It is at the entry stage, actually at the introduction stage. You can say what is the situation of electric vehicles now in India, it is maybe in the introduction stage. Coming to growth stage, you can think of something like laptop. Its demand is growing. Okay. And you can think of some product which is in the maturity stage, like refrigerator. Okay, that means it has already stumbled. Everybody knows that every household will be having one refrigerator. Okay. You can also find out some products which are at the declining stage. For example, let us say this thing, black and white televisions, or something like many products which has already gone out of the market also. Let us say CRT monitors. So these are something you can find out they are at the declining stage. Is it not? So now let us see how this product life cycle affects or gets affected its participation in business like trade and commerce. Let us have some brief idea first of all. When the new product is introduced in the market, it is at the new introduction new stage or new product introduction stage. Product is just innovated. So mostly at that time, what happens? So most of the production facilities are located in the domestic country, in that country itself, where it is developed. Sales mostly happens in the domestic country. Okay, export sales may not have been started at that point of time. Production process, if you see, mostly it is labor intensive because product is still at the raw stage. So at that stage, hardly there will be any involvement of international business. It is located within the domestic country and marketed within the domestic country because it is at the introduction stage. Product has just introduced in the market. Okay, understood? Then from introduction stage, product moves to the growth stage. When it moves to the growth stage, so people feel that there is profitability in that sector. This profitability attracts sales, attracts competitors. So more and more people produce similar kind of products. And gradually what happens, awareness of the product in the advanced country increases. People becomes aware. And when things are produced in more volume, it reduces the cost. And it also influences the innovator or competitor in the foreign countries. So in different countries also similar products are produced. So now what happens? The product goes out of this market, out of the domestic market to a foreign market. Other countries also people try to produce similar goods and services. Competitors enter into the market. That is what happens at growth stage. After growth stage, when the products attains maturity stage, at this stage, what happens? Product gets standardized. Okay, technology development is already over. Product is fully developed, it is standardized. And product has already attained cost reduction. By this time, production must have attained volume and the product must have been produced at low cost. Technology also becomes standard. Everybody knows that this product can be produced with this technology. In that situation, what happens? The producers start locating their plants in the developing countries in order to take advantages of the lower cost. Because they know maybe in the developing countries, cost of labor might be cheaper and product can be produced at a lower cost. So producers try to move to developing countries. Okay, so this is again, in this process also product goes to the international market. Production facilities are located in different countries. Then finally, product attains a declining stage. The market for the product concentrated in less developed countries, because in the developed countries, the consumers may not be interested in that product, which is already attained a declining stage. Okay, since the consumers in the advanced countries shift their demand to other kind of products or some different new products, so product is normally moved or products market is shifted to the less developed countries. Production plants are located in the developing countries. Even the original country where product was initiated, that country itself may become a new importer. Okay, because entire production facility is shifted to a different country, market shifted to a different country. But in at all, that product is needed by the original country. It has to import. Understood? So this is how a product life cycle is linked with the international trade and business. Did you understand this? Okay. Yes, sir. Friends, there are few more theories we will be learning. Just to give you some brief idea. There is one theory is called the Hoxter-Wayne theory, or 2 by 2 by 2 model. We will be seeing that theory. Relative factor endowment theory is similar kind of thing. country similarity theory, strategic rivalry theory. So these are some more theories we'll be learning in due course. Today we have completed two theories. One is comparative cost advantage theory with money, which is an important theory. Then product life cycle theory. Okay, hope things are clear to you. Thank you very, very much.